I'm Jess Campmans with Guided by Equus, offering you horse wisdom inspired healing for self-empowerment. Today I'm sharing what feels like the energy of November, and the way I used to bring this through was as kind of an energy forecast, but it feels like it's wanting to shift in not only the way that I'm bringing their wisdom through, but what I'm bringing through. And so to kind of tune into that space of what wants to be shared, I offer that this month, in along with Remembrance Day in Canada here, that we are part of what feels like a very collective doorway that we're moving through, and that a lot is being triggered for not only us, but everyone around us. And that clearing of space that just happened behind me, to make way for kind of a new platform is what it feels like to come in. And just needing to take a deep breath on that. This is something that we can't avoid, and we're having to kind of face head on and headlong. It's like an accident that continues to occur, and that it is just taking forever to play itself out, is almost how I witness it. Maybe not so much here in Canada, but across the border for sure. I have many friends that are really feeling that they can't avoid what's going on, because the avoiding has been happening for far too long. And avoidance on some level is the energy of acceptance of that what is occurring is okay, and on some level to stand up and walk through and say this, not even that this has to stop, because that's not what I'm getting, but there is a new way to define what you want to be part of. And that deep breath and summer showing up there for me. How we define what you want to be part of is by clearing your own space in your own field, so that you can know what is your truth, and not take on others' judgments and perceptions, but really get curious in investigating what is yours, and what is your own, and what is the game changer for you. What is that thing that really strikes your chord that needs to shift in the world, and what inspires you? And you put those two things together, and Fancy's just dropped her head and her eyes are blinking quite a bit, and so it feels like she's really holding space for this process. That trauma within us, and it's pretty windy here, but I want to shift to show you guys them. That trauma within us, when we find that thing that really strikes that chord within us, that is where we need to acknowledge and create space for that energy to move, so that beyond that, that in itself is healing. And beyond that, to connect to what inspires us, because what inspires us is our connection to where we want to show up and how we want to show up in the world. And if my horses have taught me anything, it's that how they are, the embodiment of them, is how I want to show up in the world. And they have showed me how to do that for myself. But how I do that for myself is going to look different than how you do that for yourself. But what they are wanting me to share and bring through is that this horse wisdom inspired healing for self-empowerment, for your self-empowerment, is essentially a pathway back to who you are and what the energy of what you are bringing to the world. And that can be anything on any different day. But it's like a force that we need to get behind right now to enter through that doorway into this next to move from our traumatized self to recognizing that we are empowered. And when we all become more empowered, that be that change that you wish to see in the world. And so, just to share a piece around this space that the horses are in, it's an old abandoned yard site, and so there's a truck over there, and there's this hay shed that they move in and out of to eat hay rather than actually graze, but they are grazing. And I was cognizant of how it looked, but I realized that this is the space they're in, and there's a very profound energy here that it supports them in how they are showing up here. And that was Daisy being trapped and moving through a space between a couple bales and moving and releasing the energy of that being trapped. So sharing that with you guys too today. And that we are here to support your empowered journey with this, whatever that looks like. So much love to you guys from myself and the horses and Guided by Equus.